want to show you the charging setup. First of all, showing you the batteries and the different types. This is the main flight battery, of which there are 9. Although you'll find there is actually a 10th battery in the flight case that I send you, but it is a dud. So that's number 5 is a dud, don't use it, but they all fit better in the case if I leave it in there for you. We've got 2 of these. These are slightly smaller 3S battery, and those can be used both one for the gimbal and also one for the video screen and running the video receiver. And then these are just a couple of spare battery options that can be used either for the gimbal or for the video feed. In terms of the setup, we've got a power supply here that is just attached to the mains, and that then feeds the Hyperion charger, which can charge 2 batteries at once. The Hyperion just plugs into these 2 larger ports on the end of the eFuel power supply. From the Hyperion charger, you've got for each battery a charging lead connecting into the battery, connects by this blue part here, and then you have got the balancing lead which connects into this plate. Now, depending on the size of your battery, it will plug into a different slot on the charging lead. This is a 4S battery, so it will charge into fit into slot number 4. This is a 3S battery. It should say on each of the batteries what size they are, and so it slots into slot number 3. Should only be able to fit into one particular slot based on its size. Then these cables are slightly different sizes depending on the battery that you're charging. There are basically 2 options. You've got the larger cable, which is used for all of the large flight batteries, and then the smaller cable, which is used for all of the other batteries. When it comes to actually setting up the charge and starting the charge, you need to make sure you've got the correct battery profile set in the window for the relevant battery. Now, these have all got them pre-programmed in, I've pre-programmed them in for you, so you should just need to select the profile that's relevant to the battery. As you can see at the moment, we're on memory number 1, and as this cycles through, that's showing it's for a LiPo. It's a 4.8 volt battery at 8,000, it'll come back up in a minute. 4.8 volt, 8,000 milliamp hour. As you can see on here, this is a 14.8 volt and 8,000 milliamp hour battery. So that's the correct profile selected. If I want to select a different profile, I'll show you how to do it now on the second screen. So this is the active screen at the moment. Any of these inputs will change this screen. You can tell that because it's got the flashing number 1 cursor in the right hand corner. To start activating this screen, I press the CH button. You'll see that the flashing number 2 cursor starts to activate. So now any of these inputs control this screen. This is currently set to memory number 1, which is one of the flight batteries. However, I actually want to be charging this battery, which is an 11.1 volt and 2,200 milliamp hour battery. So I need to change the profile on this one in order to charge it. So this has flashing, so the first thing I do is I press the enter button. Now memory number 1 will start flashing, so while it's flashing I can now select a different memory option, and I just keep going up until I get on this one number 3, and you'll see once it cycles through again, I have an 11.1 volt battery with a 2,000, it'll come up again, 2,200 milliamp hour. So I've now selected the correct battery profile to charge. In theory, it shouldn't let you charge on the wrong profile, but I've never put that to the test. Best to make sure you've got it all set up properly in here. Now, to actually initiate the charge, I've got the correct battery profile selected. I now hold down enter, and it will beep. And the first thing it says is charge start. That's the main option. If I want to just charge the battery up to full charge in order to fly it, that's the one I choose. But if I do the down arrow, I can change that to say store start. What that does is it charges the battery up to about 60% of power. If you aren't going to fly a battery within 3 days, 2-3 days, then don't charge it up to full charge. Always charge it up to storage charge. You get much better battery life out of them. It's a much better way to actually run the battery. There is another option here, which is discharge start. That discharges it completely, and you really don't want to do that because that's what you do once the battery's dead, and it will kill the battery completely. If you're on the store start option, back on that one, that will also discharge the battery. So if you've had a battery, you haven't flown it, it's more than 3 days, you want to charge it, discharge it back down to storage voltage, you can choose that option to actually discharge it down to 60% as well. It does take quite a long time, and it's normally better just to fly it off on the helicopter. It gets it down to that level a lot quicker. So on this instance, we want to actually charge the battery, so we'll go back up until it says charge start, and then to start off the charge, I press down and hold the enter button until it beeps. And what it does a battery check. When it's done that, it tells me that I've got 3 cells connected and it's 11.3 volts, which is correct. That's what the battery's probably currently got. And if I'm happy with that, it will then go on and start charging. I can either wait for that, or if I were to press enter again, it would have kicked it off straight away. So that battery, right-hand battery, is now charging. In order to stop that battery charging, I just press enter. But if you just leave it until it's fully charged, it will then start beeping at you, sings you a little song, basically tell you the charging has stopped. At that point, it will stop charging it, and it will just leave on the screen to show that it's full, and you can just press enter at the end to cancel it out, and then it's all done.